Hi, third grade. I have skipped the end of chapter 12 because you have learned all the new concepts in that chapter by the 10th lesson. And the rest of it is applying it and using it in word problems and practicing it. And so I am skipping it because I would like to get into decimals a little bit because they do relate to fractions. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Mrs. Easton was going to give an end of the year matriculation test, which means a moving up test, but she has made the decision not to give that test. She's looked at the grades and she feels like there's a lot of good work that's been done, even considering all that's gone on since the middle of March. So, and I believe you're doing very well too. The last test, everybody got a great grade on. So I'm really pleased. And so she's not going to have that test. So instead, what I thought I would do is spend the larger portion of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on math. And I really only have one other thing besides a spelling test and one other project that I want to do, which is very short. And then we're on the week that we usually have, field day and competitions and prizes and all that stuff. And so I'm trying to figure out how we can have some Zoom meetings on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Friday's a half day. And then the following week, you're going to come over to school and pick up your stuff on the 15th. And I will be there and I'll get to see you, I hope. But that's how the end of the year is going to go. So we've finished Bible. We're finishing history when you finish your chronology test. We're finishing Shirley Grammar when you finish the Shirley Grammar test. You're finishing everything this week, and math will be finished on Monday. Okay, so you will have Monday. I'm going to do a lot of math between now and Monday. Okay, so I want to show you this decimal chart. First of all, so these really cool strips have on one side the whole one, and then on the other side it has the decimal. Okay, 1.0. Now, when you have a number on the left side of the decimal, okay, this side, it's a whole number. When you go on this side of the decimal to the right, there can be several places afterward. And we're going to be talking about what are these places after the decimal? What do they mean? And they're really like a fraction. A decimal is like a fraction. It's a portion, an equal portion of the whole. But these are based differently. So we're going to start with how they're based. Let's look at these for a second. 1/2 equals whole 50%, right? 100% is whole 50%, but 0.5 means half. It's not a whole because it's not on this side of the decimal. It's a half of the number, okay? And then over here we have 1/3. And then look at this one. We have 0.333 repeating, which means that it doesn't divide equally. So it has a repeating digit at the end. And that's a third, okay? 0.333, okay? And then over here we have a quarter. It's 25%, right? 25, 50, 75, 100. If 100% here, 4 of these equals one of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. 0.25 is the decimal for 1/4, okay? 1/4 is the same as 0.25 or 25%. They're all the same. So they do relate to each other. Let's look at the poem on page 415. And it says, strategy for marathon. I will start when the gun goes off. I will run for 5 miles. Feeling good, I will run to the 10th mile. At the 10th mile, I will say, only 3 more to the halfway. At the halfway mark, 13.1 miles, I will know 15 is in reach. At 15 miles, I will say, you've run 20 before, keep going. At 20, I will say, run home. It's kind of funny. In this chapter, you will relate fractions and decimals. That's what I was just showing you on this board right here, how they relate. And explore tenths and hundredths. Compare, order, add and subtract decimals. Now, we've already added and subtracted decimals way back at the beginning of the book when we were doing addition and subtraction. We did money, and money always has decimals to indicate the cents. The dollars on the left side and the cents are on the right side. So even when we did these back here, let's see, right here in our book, $3.75 plus $5.46. There's a decimal in it. And remember, we bring the decimal down. Well, that's the same principle that we're going to be using here when we work on our decimals here. So let's turn to page 416, and we are going to look at this page, fractions and decimals. You can write a fraction and a decimal to show parts of a whole, just like when you are doing fractions and you cut it up into pieces. This is the same thing. A decimal is a number with one or more digits to the right of the decimal point, okay? So if we look at this, they've drawn us a box. It says you can get a ruler and a red crayon or a green crayon, and you could draw yourself a box. Draw a square with 10 equal parts like the square shown. We could just use this one, okay? So we're doing tenths, okay? 1/10. And if you look at this side of it, it has the decimal, 0.1, okay? So draw a box with 10 equal parts like the square shown. What fractional part of the whole square is each part? So if it's 10 equal parts, and if you have all 10, you have a whole. They ask you to shade 6 parts of your 6 parts of your square red. How many tenths are shaded red? Right, 6 out of 10. It's the same thing, 6/10. Write a fraction to show how many are shaded 6/10, 6/10. You can also write a decimal to represent how many tenths are shaded red. Numbers to the right of the ones digit represent decimals. One place to the right of the ones place is the tenths place. Okay? Write the decimal as 0.6. Write a 6 after the decimal point to show 6/10. Okay, so see, it's got all the things mapped out for you. Okay, write a 0 before the decimal point to show that there are no ones. There's no whole numbers on this. It's only 0.6, 0.6, and that means 6/10. Read 6/10 and 0.6 as 6/10. They're both the same. These are equal to each other. Can you see that in the picture? I think you can, but let's bring it up to the forefront. These are equivalent, 6/10 and 0.6, okay? I'm going to stop for a second. I will be right back.